With Barnes & Noble's 50% off all Criterion title sale now in full swing, in this video, I'm going to give you some recommendations of some Criterion titles you may want to check out and take advantage of during the sale. Twice a year, once in July and the other in November, Barnes & Noble has a 50% off all Criterion Collection title sale. And if you're somebody that collects from the boutique label like I do, you're going to have a list of titles you want to pick up to take advantage of said sale. I just picked up a few things a couple days ago, and I plan to pick up more as the month progresses. But I thought for this video, since a lot of people, if you're watching it, are Criterion collectors, I would give you some recommendations that you may want to take advantage of for this sale. Now, typically when I do lists like this, I base it off the picture and audio quality. I'm not going to really do that so much. I may make a comment here or there. This is purely based off the film and how I enjoy the movie, and I want to pass along these recommendations to you. So once again, this sale is something that we really want to, take advantage of when they have it, because quite frankly, Criterions are some of the more higher priced boutique label titles out there. So for 50% off, it's usually a good deal. So let's start off with just my first pick. I am a Western fan. I have long been a Western fan, classic Westerns of all various subgenres, and Criterion's put out a couple that I want to just pass along to you that I think you might enjoy. One being the Renowned Westerns. Now, the Renowned Westerns is a 5-film collection from Criterion. These were all directed by Bud Boticher, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, and they star Randolph Scott. A lot of you may not know who Randolph Scott is. He was, he's like an old school Western type of guy. It's before we got into the more gritty style of Westerns, where Eastwood would, feature prominently and that sort of thing. So, but there's something very, I would say, inherently charming about these Westerns. They're all really good. They're not like a continuous story, so they're not sequels or anything. They're all individual, and I really like them. I think they're really enjoyable. And if you want to get a peek into a lesser area of Hollywood Westerns, I hate to call them B movies. I don't really consider them that way, but they're really good. Randolph Scott has such a personality about him. I mean, it's kind of like your cool uncle has that vibe, and I think the films they all are really good. So yeah, definitely check out the Renowned Westerns. I would recommend pick this one up during the sale. Staying in the Western genre for just a moment, my next recommendation is the beginning of a director-actor duo pairing that's about a year or two ago. I went through a marathon of their various films, and their first one arrived on Criterion not too long ago, Winchester 73, with director Anthony Mann and actor James Stewart. Those two together, I felt, made some really great films. Of course, a lot of them were of the Western genre. There were some not in that genre, and they were still equally good. I would love to get all of their films on 4K. But the first one, Winchester 73, it's a really cool Western. It's got a very memorable villain. I really enjoyed that. And there's also a little twist to it. It's a well-shot film. It looks great. It's got some great dialogue to it. And it moves at a good pace. It literally, you're kind of like following along with this Winchester 73 rifle and how it starts and along, where a couple of people get a hold of it and then where it ultimately ends up. But it all ties together with James Stewart and another character that I think it's very cool. It's a really interesting story. So check out Winchester 73 from the Criterion Collection, and also check out the pair's other films afterwards. But yeah, pick this one up from the sale. One of our, I would say, premier filmmakers today who makes incredible films. I think his filmography is one of the best out there. Guillermo del Toro, incredible filmmaker and storyteller. And he is also a champion of physical media. He really sees the value in it. And with the release of his Pinocchio film on 4K also, I think really it is an excellent transfer. Once again, talk just a little bit about the picture, but the story is awesome. It definitely it's definitely infinitely better than the same Pinocchio movie that Disney put out around the same time, the live action. This is more of an authentic to the story, the original story kind of version. And this movie was also featured only on Netflix. So generally, when you get a Netflix only movie, you're not going to get a physical media copy of it. But I think Guillermo del Toro had something in his contract that he's able to put his films out on physical media. And I think the 4K from Criterion is really excellent. I do recommend you check out the film. I have to admit, watching it for the first time, it took a little getting used to just to see where they went with it. But now I love it. I love it. It's so cool. It's a well animated, if that's the right term, kind of film. But I recommend it. It's a great 4K release from Criterion. So check out Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on 4K from Criterion. My next pick is sort of in the Western genre, but it's more of a contemporary Western, and it's a good mystery as well. And it stars Chris Cooper, Lone Star, the 4K edition from Criterion. As a film, I give it a high recommendation. It's a really interesting mystery, and the character development with it takes place in the quote unquote present, and also features some of the things that happened in the past. And it's also got a really solid cast. This movie, I feel, is a bit underrated, and Criterion picked this one up, did a great job with the disc. I find it very interesting to go back to every few years. I'm very happy that we have a 4K edition, that Criterion made this available on the format. And it is one that I go back to every few years. It's really interesting. It is. I don't want to say too much to risk spoiling it, but I would say if you want an interesting contemporary mystery Western, check this out. It is well worth the price. And if you're going into a Barnes and Noble, pick this one up for the sale. I think it's worth your money. My next recommendation is not only part of the Criterion sale, but it's also been given a little bit more of a discount on places like Amazon. And it's a really interesting film. It is filmed in black and white intentionally. It's not because it's an older movie. Ryan O'Neal's starring in Paper Moon with his daughter, Tatum O'Neal. For a movie that's kind of this caliber, it is so clever, and the script there's a lot of interesting facets to the dialogue. And of course you have the father-daughter chemistry of the two mains and the journey they go on. And it's so witty and entertaining, and it's just endlessly, for me, rewatchable. It's so cool. It's a really cool film. I I do recommend this one. It's a comedy with some drama, and it really is the characters and how they interact with each other that sells it, because it's a really interesting film. I love it, and the last time I checked, it was right around 18 bucks. Amazon had it for. I don't know who they're price matching or why the additional discount, but I would recommend you check this one out. It is very entertaining. It's just a fun movie. So yes, Paper Moon, check it out. If you are a longtime fan of the channel, you probably know that I am a huge Michael Mann fan. I love his films. I can't really think of any that I would not recommend. Even The Keep, it has its moments. But for the Criterion release of Thief, it is it's such a welcome 4K upgrade, but the film itself, you could one of my all-time favorite movies is Heat, and you can see the DNA from that film in Thief. James Caan stars as the title character. He plays a thief, and it's just so interesting how the world is crafted and it comes across. Mann knows how to film and shoot his movies. He always brings along some great behind the scenes talent, and they implement his vision very well. There's also a really interesting YouTube video, The Art of Michael Mann, and it's got a nice kind of just a bunch of his clips with some of the music. It's really interesting. Check it out. I'll link it in the comments below. But Thief is absolutely a It's a compelling thriller. James Caan leads this film, and he has such presence. It is such a really interesting story of just, that side of, crime and trying to live your life and the steps you go through to, work with others. And it's just, it's so cool. I always like to do a double feature with Thief and Heat in my head. They take place in the same universe, but I love it. And Criterion put out a really great looking 4K, so check this one out for the sale. My next recommendation is a very recent release from Criterion. It also won an Oscar, whether you love the movie or not. It does have that going for it. But the Criterion release of Anora from director Sean Baker, it is actually a really decent 4K transfer from Criterion. And in my opinion, it looks great on the formats. The film itself, if you're not familiar, it's like, a man-woman. The man's kind of comes from a rich, sketchy kind of family. And then he finds a stripper that he really takes to. And then it's basically a story about their relationship. But it's such an interesting kind of way that the first half of the movie is very different than the second half. It is. And I love how they get from point A to point B. Really some cool stuff there. Also visually looks great. But I mean, it's a very, I can definitely see why Criterion put this one out. I like it a lot. It's an interesting movie. It's not one that I would necessarily go back to all the time, maybe like once every couple of years. But I think, if you want to see what, passes for the best picture these days, check out Anora on Criterion. It's worth checking out, so I do recommend it for part of this video. Semi-recently, one of my favorite filmmakers, David Lynch, passed away, and whatever you may think of like his movies, you have to agree he has such a unique vision and style. But I am a huge fan. I love all his movies, but for me, the Criterion release of Mahaland Drive, it is one of my favorites of his filmography. And Criterion did a great job with the transfer. I even did a full review of it. If you want to dig deep into my channel, you can find it there. But it's a movie that definitely has a lot of questions and a lot of visual flourish that only a David Lynch film has. In fact, I'm getting ready to rewatch it in the next couple days. But I recommend this one. It's definitely not a straightforward movie, but it's so compelling as a mystery. And there's a lot of really twisty characters and things that happen that don't make sense. But then this is another movie that demands a rewatch, a couple times before you really start to grasp what it's all about. But I recommend Mahaland Drive 100%. It is one of my favorite Lynch films, and Criterion did a great job. So check this one out. I do recommend it highly. So take advantage of the sale and give this one a shot. I'm just realizing that I'm putting a lot of my favorite filmmakers in this list, but for the Coen brothers, who have not a lot, but they have more than a few titles on Criterion's catalog. No Country for Old Men, who I would say arguably is one of their best, and it is one of the favorites of a lot of fans. But their 4K release that came out not too long ago, definitely take advantage of the sale and pick this one up. This is another one that has such interesting just dynamics with all the various characters and things that happen. It's a very compelling Coen Brothers style movie. And it is one that I love to go back to at least once a year. It is that good. I just enjoy it. I mean, the dialogue, the interactions with the characters. I mean, Javier Bardem has like a iconic role in this. Like he's really, of all his films, he's probably most known for this one. I mean, he's that good. I just recently saw him in F1, and the man has gravitas. He does. But it's next level stuff. And that once again speaks to the Coen brothers and their directing style and their script, and such a good movie, such a good film. Check it out. Highest recommendation. No Country for Old Men. Pick this one up as part of the sale. I honestly could do a whole list of just international Criterion releases. I mean, they have probably more than any boutique label, a wide variety of international films that I feel are really exceptional. And I feel kind of sorry I didn't put more on this list. Who knows, maybe in the November video, I'll do a international Criterion kind of thing. But for this one, I want to recommend a movie that I would say was probably one of my favorites of that year. And I think it came out in 2023. Perfect Days. I think, just from a technical standpoint, it's a gorgeous looking disc. One of the best that I feel Criterion has ever put out. And I think it even made one of my top 10 lists overall for that year. The picture is outstanding. But the story, it's a it's a contained drama, and it's so beautiful. I mean, it follows a man that it works, basically cleans toilets in his day job, and it's just following him along and his life and his interactions with the people around him. And there's also a little bit of drama involving his family, and it is really a great film in my opinion. It's not as bombastic or as thought provoking as some of the films, or gritty, but it's a simple story, but it's beautifully told. I recommend this one wholeheartedly. So check it out. Perfect Days from Criterion. I think you won't be disappointed. And to finish this video up, I'm going to give a recommendation for a movie that came out on 4K from Criterion just a week ago. William Friedkin's Sorcerer. I just rewatched this one just a couple days prior to this video. And if you're not aware, it's a remake of Wages of Fear, an older film. But Friedkin's version, oh, it is, I haven't seen this one in a few years, and I'm always surprised of how intense it is. Oh, this is a good movie. This is a good movie. It's really raw, and it is a gritty film, but it's so compelling. I love the visuals and what happens and the story. Really cool. It is, and as I mentioned, it is kind of intense and nerve-wracking, especially that last 20 minutes or so. It's cool stuff. It really is. And judging based off of what's happening on the forums and Reddit, it's one of the hotter titles to pick up on 4K from Criterion in this sale. So do yourself a favor. If you are at all a William Friedkin fan, I mean, To Live and Die in LA is one of his most well-known films, but he's got such a filmography. Check it out. Sorcerer on 4K from Criterion. You will not regret it. It is a really cool film. So those are my recommendations for some Criterion Collection titles you may want to pick up during this July 2025 50% off sale. There's a lot more that I could have included. I could have easily done 100 of these recommendations. In my collection, I have a whole section just for Criterion, separate from the rest of the films. I very much think highly of the label, and you got to take advantage of these sales when you can. And it's just, there's a lot out there. I mean, as I mentioned, I already picked up a bunch a couple days ago. I'm going again. It's a cool thing. So if you're a Criterion fan and you like these recommendations, check them out. And for those that don't have a Barnes & Noble next to you, I will leave Amazon links. They are matching the sale in the comments. So yeah, check these out. But also, hey, why not let the rest of us know what you would recommend to the rest of us for pickups from the Criterion Collection for this sale? Sound off down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.